Part 1 of the video is here and in the description. If you haven't seen that yet and want to learn more about the earlier history of sniping, or just don't want to be confused going into this video, you should probably check that out first. Before we get into the main video, I just want to mention that this part 2 of the sniping miniseries is going to be quite a bit different from the other two parts, and so will part 3. Compared to part 1, there's going to be a lot less talking about sniping as a whole, and a lot more talking about specific names, and you'll see why pretty quickly. So the layout of this video might be a little bit weird, and I apologize in advance for that. Part 3 should make a little more sense, but even that might be crazy because of the fact that about 70 new snipers have been made in the past 4 or 5 months, and I know little to nothing about any of them. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed the video, and let's get straight into it. In our last video, we left off in very early 2018 with the arrival of SMKM and the shutdown of MC Sniper. Now before this point, sniping was a very open market where pretty much anyone could come in, make a sniper with a relatively low budget and not too much time put into it, but starting now, sniping would become an exclusive activity only practiced by those with a lot of time, a lot of devotion, and a lot of money. There was only so much you could do in terms of making your sniper faster and more accurate, and at a certain point you would start to be limited by how much money you could spend on more servers, faster servers, and more accounts to snipe with. So the next 2.5 years are what I would call the dark ages of sniping, with just one sniper to rule them all, chearful.ninja. So in today's episode of Minecraft Uncovered, we talk about where they fell short. From hand snipers to turbos to complete sniper failure, this is the dark ages of Minecraft name sniping. We should probably begin with SMKM Sniper since we ended with him last video. Surprisingly enough, SMKM's time on top ended almost as quickly as it started. By May of 2018, he had completely given up sniping, saying it was a dying if not dead business. Once again, these are the dark ages of sniping we're talking about. Since the start of 2018, the only names that I could find him sniping and selling were Guard, Totodile, Tyrantrum, Entitlement, Mario Odyssey, Fake News, Mercifully, and Categorize. And by no means is that a complete list, but it's everything that I could find on the public side. Definitely a fall from grace in terms of getting tons of top tier OGs like Salt and Gut, but there were still a few nice names in there. Since he shut down as sniper, he never really took an interest in the community again, and he never gave his sniper or methods to anyone else. The SMKM Sniper is a relic of the past. Post-SMKM, chearful.ninja essentially had no real competition for years, but there was one group of players devoted to taking as many rare names as they could: hand snipers. Now, for a hand sniper to actually beat chearful.ninja in terms of speed is laughable. If you've heard the expression bringing a knife to a gunfight, this would be like bringing a paperclip to World War II. You have a sniper that's been meticulously worked on by an experienced developer for years with thousands of accounts and servers to work with, versus your average Minecraft player with one Minecraft account, a likely slow internet connection, and not much if any understanding of how to properly time their requests based on ping and Mojang server speed. Of course, chearful.ninja never had a perfect sniper, and as a result, there were quite a few times where some issues caused names to be dropped to the public. Most of the time, these weren't great usernames. For example, low-tier semis, random 3 characters, or culture accounts, which are basically just names of rappers, YouTubers, and so on. But, over the last 2 years, about 20 higher-tier OG names ended up being taken by hand snipers. Now, I won't go into detail about each and every account, because that would cause this video to be about 50 minutes long, but fortunately, a lot of the snipes that were lost all failed for the same reasons. So, let's get into it, starting with Base, Hair, Tap, and Gog. Base was the first of these to be lost by far, happening about half a year before the others. With Base, the only reason for the name to be lost is that whoever was transferring the name from the previous accounts ended up ghosting chearful.ninja support, and with no account to put the name on, after Cheerful's 24-hour block expired, Base dropped to the public and was grabbed by someone known as Simcraft. With Hair, Tap, and Gog, they basically all had the same issue. An invalid account was provided by whoever was sniping the name, or gift code in the case of Tap, and even though chearful.ninja successfully blocked the name all 3 times, the name got dropped to the public a short while later and got hand sniped because they had nothing to put it on. Gog went to someone who actually went by their name, which is always really nice, but Hair and Tap were both put on random full access accounts without anything special. Not as good as they could have been, but still not bad at all. After all, those two are still extremely high tier OG names. Next up, we have 2 names that were successfully blocked like the other 4 we just mentioned, but ended up failing because the names got claimed in the 5-second window between Cheerful unblocking the name and claiming it on a new account. The first of these is one you might have heard of before, since it's probably the second most popular outsniped name in the community, and that name is Computer. Now, the account provided here was fine, and the block went just as planned. In fact, there should have been no way the name could have possibly been lost short of a complete failure by either the sniper or Mojang, both of which were very rare. Unfortunately, Callum, the guy who was transferring the name to a new account, got impatient waiting for the block to expire and asked Chearful whether he could manually claim it, and as they seemed to be pretty good friends, Chearful agreed. So, Chearful went into the sniper panel, unblocked the name, and quickly went to change the name on Minecraft.net, only to be met with the message, "This profile name is not available." Sure enough, when the account is searched up on NameMC, the name wasn't taken by Callum's fresh gift code, and instead was manually claimed by some guy named 3QM, stealing the name for their own account. Computer was lost forever. Callum actually ended up meeting this guy in-game over a year later though, and got his revenge. Not quite as good as having a fresh account with a high-tier OG name, but destroying the person who stole it from you is probably the next best thing. The other account with a similar story was Mumble, and just like with Computer, the name was manually claimed by a random player after Chearful unblocked it, beating their sniper in the process. I don't believe it was manually unclaimed, and there's no epic PvP battle between the current and previous owners like with Computer, but otherwise it's basically the exact same situation. The previous two sections have all had to do with failures as a result of players, whether that be because the player sniping didn't provide an account, or because a random player was able to beat chearful.ninja to the punch in terms of claiming an account. This section though is full of 5 snipes that lost as a direct result of the sniper itself failing. First up is Sav, and this is one of the most mysterious of the 5. Although we don't know what he did, Ninja screwed up something in their sniper, and it looks like it never even tried to snipe the name at all. Instead, a random player took the name on one of his alt accounts. Unlike all the other names we've talked about, this one was actually sniped using a bot, as were his other accounts like Moy. It turns out that his friend was working on making his own sniper, and was even talking to Lithiard, the old owner of MC Sniper, but nothing really came out of that as far as I can tell, and I hadn't heard of the sniper until now. It seems that they either gave up, or got everything they wanted and shut it down. Next up is the account Hacks, and this is the sole reason that Sav isn't the most mysterious. This was a snipe from the previous account, which got the name just a few months earlier, but seems to have been locked and name changed since then, and then apparently unlocked well after the name was lost. Anyways, for some completely unknown reason, the snipe just failed. Like, it didn't even attempt to snipe the name, and nobody elaborated on it outside of Ninja saying there were very specific issues that have been known for a while. I do have a guess, but to be completely transparent here, this is based off a rumor I heard about well over a year ago and never got any confirmation on, so I could be completely wrong here. Anyways, what I heard is that the sniper has issues when it tries to claim a name that it's already sniped in the past, and like I mentioned earlier, the previous account Hacks was on was also a snipe. What I think happened is that they forgot it had already been sniped in the past and forgot to fix whatever caused the issue, and it caused the sniper to just completely ignore the request to snipe Hacks, probably because there's some code that prevents it from trying to take a name once it gets a successful response to prevent the sniper from wasting power or something like that. It got taken by Acorn Sniper, which was a pretty low quality sniper a few years ago, but apparently good enough to win at least one really good name. Now, these next 3 all failed for the same reason at different times, so I'll mainly just be glossing through them. Chucky, then Announce, then Bipolar all failed as a result of the bot being down at the time of the snipe. In Chucky's case, they decided to migrate their database at around the time the snipe dropped, and they warned everyone that snipes would be affected, so the snipe on Chucky never actually started and it dropped freely to the public, and of course, we all know who ended up getting it. For Announce, the name was listed on the new snipe shop for $200, but nobody actually bought it because it seems like the general consensus was that it was a bit too expensive. The listing expired, and because of proxy issues, the name wasn't re-queued by the bot. When the time came for the name to drop, the sniper never got a signal to fire, and the name ended up getting handsniped. Uniquely, this handsnipe was actually onto a really nice account, a pre-named 3 character, unlike many of the other handsnipes which end up on accounts with like 20 completely random names like bruh 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 bruh, and yes, that is a real previous name of an account we'll be talking about later. And finally, we have Bipolar. For this, the bot was down for some unknown reason, though one of the chearful.ninja staff was guessing that it was either because of a daily restart or Ninja not checking the snipes, and the name dropped to a hand sniper by the name of Skeleton. Of course, not every single failed snipe is the community's fault. In fact, sometimes Mojang is the issue, and that's exactly the case for Fail, Bowser, and Brood. Fail, which is a pretty ironic name for what we're talking about, has a very weird story. Chearful.ninja was actually completely successful in blocking, but when they went to unblock the name and claim it, nothing happened. It turns out that Mojang themselves had also blocked the name for no apparent reason, and almost 2 weeks later, it ended up getting unblocked and sniped onto a new account. I have no clue who ended up winning this, by the way. If I were to guess, chearful.ninja just extended the block until Mojang's block ended and then claimed it on the proper account. But it might have been dropped to handsniper or outsniped, who knows. Next up is Bowser, which was a transfer rather than a snipe. All I really know about this one is that Cheerful decided to test something that was apparently faster than turboing, but it ended up backfiring badly. Mojang blocked their requests entirely, including the transfer on Bowser, and the name dropped to a random hand sniper by the name of Bruh. I wasn't joking, seriously, the best OG names always end up getting taken on really bad accounts for some reason. It's a curse. Lastly is Brood, and this one wasn't really avoidable at all. Right as the snipe on it dropped, Mojang's authentication servers went down for maintenance, so the blocker didn't work and the name was handsniped. Now, we've gone through all of the handsnipes that we know about, except for 6. These 6 are somewhat of a mystery to me, with no clear reason that the snipe was lost, or whether they were indeed handsniped, or anything at all, really. The first is Ammo, and quite literally the only reason that I know about it is because of a Discord member adamantly claiming he handsniped the name 2 years ago. We also have Livestream and Ryzen, which were actually my snipes, and this is when I heard that rumor I mentioned before with hacks, where Cheerful Sniper had issues sniping a name more than once. Livestream and Ryzen only ever got sniped once though, so I'm not really sure why this came up at all. We also have _x16, not really sure what else to call that username, which was handsniped by Ethy or Ethan, the first handsniper here that actually seems to be a member of the community, and a pretty prominent one at that. Next are Utter and Doki, both of which were queued by a guy named Chu, and both of which failed, for no apparent reason, to be handsniped by random players. In the Discord for chearful.ninja, some people said that Utter wasn't actually queued by anyone, but I have proof it was, so no idea where that claim came from or whether it holds any truth. The final mystery account is Explosive. There's some records in the Discord of people telling some deleted user how to block the name, and then apparently the snipe was lost. No idea whether that guy got it, or if it was hand sniped or turboed, or maybe it actually was a successful snipe but on a really odd account to transfer or snipe to. So that covers the hand sniping side of history, but we still haven't talked about turbos yet. The main reason for that is that turbos weren't really a problem for chearful.ninja until around October 8th of 2019, which is when discussion about them started to ramp up a bit, and for good reason. That was the time that both the names Volt and Boxers were turboed by a user by the name of Discoly. He doesn't seem to be too big on the Minecraft community, but he does care a lot about OG usernames, and he even has his own market for them called Lick. After these, he didn't turbo any more names for about half a year until the drops of Papa, People, and Lux, and technically these all fell in the time frame of part 3 of this series, so I should probably be talking about them there instead of here, but for some reason it makes more sense to do it now. There was one other turboer too by the name of Elias. Elias did his turbos quite a bit later than Disco, but he clearly didn't have any problem with that, getting Grizzly, Nerd, Break, and London. Nerd and Grizzly were just normal turbos, not too much else to say about them, but there's somewhat of a story behind the other two. Break might actually have been won by chearful.ninja, but whoever was sniping or transferring the name provided an invalid, unmigrated account for the snipe, and as a result, Elias was able to turbo it. As for London, the turbo wasn't anything special, but the chearful.ninja snipe was actually supposed to be put on Zombie Slaughter, a nice pre-name account with a 2011 and 2012 cape. And hey, it might have even ended up as a pentacape account before cape codes were all disabled a few months back. Instead, when London got turboed, the cape account ended up being used on the name Fang, so it didn't get wasted. And that's it. That is the dark ages of Minecraft name sniping, and also possibly the most weirdly formatted Minecraft Uncovered video I've made yet, but hey, at least I tried, right? Part 3 should be coming out on December 31st, and might even feature another Minecraft YouTuber you know very well if you like Minecraft Uncovered. Until then though, I hope you all enjoyed the video, come join my Discord if you haven't already, and that's really all I have left to say. Have a good one, peace.